Other big story we're following. Yesterday, we told you of the Supreme Court's blunt rejection of one Trump ally's attempt to overturn the election result in one state. Well, now President Trump is asking the court to let him join a lawsuit to overturn the results in 4 states, enough to throw the election to him. Quote, "We will be intervening in the Texas case," the president tweeted, calling the case, quote, "the big one." The suit brought by Texas AG Ken Paxton seeks to invalidate the 62 electoral votes belonging to Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, based on various false claims of unconstitutional handling of absentee ballots. The brief was signed by John Eastman, who is perhaps best known for dubiously arguing that Vice President-elect Kamala Harris might not be a native-born U.S. citizen. Have you heard that before? The court has asked the defendants to respond today. The president asked Senator Ted Cruz of Texas to present oral arguments if it gets that far. A spokesman for the senator confirms he's agreed. To bolster the suit, the attorneys general of 17 states Trump won backed the action yesterday, filing an amicus brief with the court. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports that before the brief was filed, the president had a 15-minute phone call with Georgia's attorney general, warning him not to rally Republican officials against the case. Let's bring in NBC News and MSNBC law analyst and editor-in-chief of Lawfare, Ben Wittes. Ben, where do you want to begin? And why, quite frankly, is the president of the United States allowed to do this? How can this be constitutional or legal? Am I being naive?
Well, I mean, anybody can sue anybody for anything is the answer to that question. But look, where to begin? This is not worth talking about as a piece of litigation. It is the same recycled claims based on the same garbage facts that lots of courts have rejected. The only novelty here is that because it is brought by a state against other states, the original venue for it is the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has what's called original jurisdiction over disputes between the states. And therefore, you know, the plaintiffs here, the state of Texas, doesn't have to go to a district court somewhere and then go through appeals court. So the justices can, if they want, hear this immediately. You know, memo to the state of Texas: there is zero chance that the Supreme Court is going to hear this case. I know that people you know, are suspicious of the Supreme Court because of the number of conservative justices on it. But this is a completely frivolous matter on an election that the Supreme Court is not looking to get involved in. There is no legal case for what Texas is asking for here, and therefore the Supreme Court will bat it back, and tomorrow or the next day we will be on having the same conversation that you guys had about Pennsylvania.
Ben, our justice correspondent Pete Williams notes 5 big problems with that Texas lawsuit to overturn Biden's win at the Supreme Court. Well, let's tick through a couple of them that Pete writes about. He writes this: the suit calls on the court to delay the electoral vote in the 4 targeted states, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, to allow investigations of voting issues to continue. That would be unconstitutional. Pete also notes Texas has no legal right to claim that officials elsewhere did not follow the rules set by their own legislatures. The United States does not have a national election for president. It has a series of state elections, and one state has no legal standing to challenge how another state conducts its elections. And, Pete continues, while it's true the Supreme Court is the place to go when one state wants to sue another, it has to get permission from the court first and has to show there is no other place to resolve the issues. The Texas lawsuit, Pete writes, is a compilation of legal claims that have already been chewed over in lower courts. Pete goes on to point out the court filings also appear to have been prepared in haste. For example, the lawsuit says the 4 states that Texas wants to sue have a total of 72 electoral votes. The actual total is 62.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.